The two EPA representatives come out the store. Does anybody know what would happen to them?
There is environmental extremism. I don't think they'll be happy until the White House looks like a bird's nest.
The protesters were told not to block the trucks. They're now lying in the streets now, blocking one truck.
It wasn't just a matter of holding up signs saying, "Stop killing the whales." No. Greenpeace wanted to get out there in front of the whaling boats and stop them.
They were reinventing civilization and did not know how, and I didn't either, but I figured we might find out.
How do you hold forests in common when every other force around you is trying to get you to privatize?
We are going to shed blood because of our land. We will. Our forefathers shed blood for our land.
Americans understood what was going on and what the danger was, but still nothing happening in Washington. Not a damn thing.
Global warming is the greatest single hoax ever perpetrated.
I don't know, do we have to have a hurricane take out Miami and Shanghai to have everybody wake up? If it happened next year, it might be possible to still do that. What a hell of a way to run a planet.
Hi, I'm Lisa Garr. My guest is Mark Kitchell, the writer, director, and producer of the film A Fierce Green Fire. So tell me, what were some of the challenges that you confronted in making this film?
All we shot was interviews. Everything else is archival. And we went through more archival film than I imagined there could be. And we just looked, and it kept on getting deeper and deeper. There's 100 sources in the film. And the real challenges for me were structural and story and shaping it all, and how to put together this 50 years into something that had an arc and hung together, and the stories were well told and made sense. And from beginning to end, it was, what do you leave out?
Tell me a little bit about the structure of the film and why you chose to make it 5 acts, and what are the 5 acts?
Well, the first act is the conservation movement of the 60s, and the central story there is the Sierra Club and David Brower, its leader, halting dams in the Grand Canyon. That was a real turning point.
And they succeeded.
Yeah. And the second act is about the pollution-oriented environmental movement that grew out of the first Earth Day, and was mostly the 70s. And the key story there is Love Canal and Lois Gibbs and these angry housewives who are fighting to stop 20,000 tons of toxic waste from being dumped on them. The third act, you know, I had to do the alternative ecology movement. So I had to go from the Whole Earth catalog to going back to the land and energy and buildings and agriculture. But the main story there is really coming in from left field from Canada, and it's about Greenpeace and the whales and the seals, and that movement that became so compelling for so many people. And then the fourth act is really about global resource issues and crises. And the main story, it had to be, it's one of the great stories of the movement, is Chico Mendes and the Rubber Tappers saving the Amazon forest. It's 4 stories of success, followed by the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced, which is climate change and global warming. And that's a story that's still very much unfolding. It's taken 25 years to get it to where it is now, where most people believe that it's real, and we're almost beyond denial, and where a movement is really formed around it. It was not a movement-driven issue until 5 years ago.
All right, so what can we expect from you next? What other projects do you have in the works?
Well, I want to do a follow-on film. I didn't get to the present and the future, and I really want to do a film that looks at the fierce green future, if you will. And a lot of it will be solutions oriented, because there's so many important things happening out there that we really need to tell people about.
Still documenting movements, or getting into what types of solutions?
Oh, they run the gamut from, you know, Germany giving up fossil fuels and nuclear fuels and paving the way for us, and distributed power. You know, it's power to the people. Remember that?
Yes.
And then there's lots of other stuff that, you know, there's a lot of reforestation going on. There's a lot of changes going on in agriculture. We're really moving towards a a whole new paradigm of how we grow food and eat food.
Yeah.
And there's just, the stories go on and on and on. That's the work I need to do, is sit down and try and put it together. I'm back to the beginning of, you know, I got way too much to deal with.
A lot of
But I'm going to try and get to the pithy essence.
And then, well, maybe not 11 years. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.